When it comes to Chairman's Reserve rums, my favourite for the last year or so, the one I keep going back to time and time again, is the Legacy. But in this video, I want to kind of put it head to head against the original, which is cheaper, but it's a rum that I really haven't touched in a good year or so, at least. I can't remember the last time I had that. So I kind of want to have just a quick look back and see whether that potentially could do a job in the sort of tiki cocktails. Now, when we come to talking about the tiki cocktails, both of these would fit in category 3 of Smuggler's Cove category 3. This, if you follow me, you'll see that I use this quite a lot for that kind of rum. The difference between them, they say, now Chairman's Reserve are all about, they're never about age statements, they're all about blending different ages together. However, they do give you the ages of the blends that they put in there. To a certain extent, for example, the Chairman's Reserve Original, they say is average age of 5-year-old rums. Now, that means there's probably an 8-year-old rum in there, but looking at some what other blends that they do, maybe a 9-year-old rum, but you pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be 1 2-year-old rum in there. Okay, so the average age, they don't say that, but if you know how Rum World works, people want sort of, you know, well, how old is it? So they kind of say the average age of the rums in there is 5 years old. That's kind of there. That's what they say with this. Whereas the Legacy is actually a blend of 5 and 6-year-old rums, but it's also got a little bit of a bump in ABV as well. This is 40% ABV and this is 43% ABV. Let's do the price comparison. This is what might get people because this is actually quite a healthy price hike compared to the original. For example, when we look at the original, let's scroll up. I think it's 20, my guys, Master of Malt in the UK, $27.99 versus $39.50 essentially. So we are talking roughly £2 more, sorry, £12 more a bottle. All right, so £12. To relate that into dollars, $35 is what it translates to $50, so roughly $15 between them, and into euros, $32.50 to $45.87, so $13 roughly, give or take, increase. Now, is that actually worth it? Let's have a revisit. Now, this is the first smell that I've had of this for a long while. Generally can't think of the last time I cracked it. It smells quite soft and quite fruit forward actually, which I don't remember from this rum. I remember this rum as actually quite woody and quite oaky. So whether that's mellowed out, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of sort of soft fruit on there. Vanilla. I'm struggling to pick that out. I'm probably going more sort of dried fruit vibes in there. I'm not necessarily going the tropical like pineapple or banana or anything like that. I want to go sort of the standard, you're in the UK, like the whole Christmas cake thing, dates, sultanas, raisins, that kind of vibe. Probably a slight nod to caramel in there, but you know, it's just soft, vanilla-y, fruity kind of rum. No punch to it. It's almost not a nothing rum, but you know, I know what that smells like. It's nothing in comparison to what that is. Now on the taste, that's what I kind of remember. That's that woody vibe. For me, this is actually too wood forward. It's kind of, I don't want to even go oak. I just want to go wet wood. I know that sounds harsh, but that's the kind of vibe to it. I get wet wood. I kind of get like a little bit of burnt toffee kind of vibe to it. Not too much fruit at all. There's a bit of vanilla on there. It's just wood and it's really sort of tanniny. It's like sticking to the side of my tongue and to my gums, like how red wine would do, a dry red wine. It's quite dry, but I've got those tannins. It's just that prickle of wood spice going on. If I am picking any fruit out at all, it is that sort of Christmas cake, that dried fruit, raisins, sultanas, dates, maybe you might even put sort of figs in there as well. In the UK, what we would typically put in for like a Christmas cake, Christmas pudding, that sort of thing, that's that fruit vibe. I'm not getting banana, I'm not getting coconut, I'm not getting pineapple, anything like that off that. The only sort of saving grace for me a little bit is if you could get past that wood, it's actually kind of an easy drinker. I would say, you know, going back from memory and how the profile sits for me, I actually think this could be a superb rum and coke, rum and ginger beer. I just don't think it's got the profile, and it will be interesting coming back to sipping this neat straight afterwards. I just don't think this has got the profile to punch through in tiki cocktails in category 3 Smuggler's Cove, because I just think this brings an extra level of oomph. And already on the aroma, it's just a whole different level. It's like turbocharged. It's rum turbocharged. And it's something I want to come on to that I think I've forgotten to mention. I can't remember saying it, is that the blend of the Legacy is actually molasses and cane juice, whereas the blend of the original is just molasses. And that, to a certain extent, is evident in the rum, because the aromas I get off there, yes, I've got vanilla. Yes, I've got sort of barrel aging, but not the woods, nothing compared to the original. But what I do get is funk, not in a Jamaican way, but I get this sort of lovely, just not gone off bananas, but you know when bananas have gone starting to go black, just very, very slightly, a little bit kind of like that sort of vibe, not yellow, just a little bit of, not totally black, but just a little bit of black on them. That's the kind of sort of smell that I get off that. There is other sort of those dried fruits there as well. And I want to say there's a little hint of varnish that just sort of comes and goes very, very quickly as well. But yeah, the big aromas for me is it's just more oomph, if that's the right thing to say. More vanilla, more deeper, richer fruit vibes coming off it, and just funky. I just want to call, not in a Jamaican sense, but it's just, compared to that, it's just got a level of funk to it, and it just smells delicious. But here's the thing, right? On the aroma, if I had to pick two, if I was having to pick one to sip neat off the aroma, I would totally go the original. The original smells to me much more up my street. It just smells softer. It just smells more inviting. However, it's the taste of that comes out of wood. Let's dive in for a little sip of this. And it's just such a totally different beast. The extra 3% ABV, so 40, 43, the extra 3% ABV gives it more body. I don't want to say thicker, although that's kind of how you would sort of interpret it. It's just more body, more silky mouthfeel, undosed, you know, no sugar added, but just silky smooth. It hasn't got that, I don't want to be harsh, but it hasn't got that unrefined woodness to it. You can tell it's aged. You can tell there's like that oak character to it. You can tell there's vanilla. It's like, probably I'd go more burnt toffee than caramel or anything like that. But you've got that level of fruit on there as well. Both, you've got that sort of banana-y vibe. Maybe actually on the finish, when the saliva's kind of mixed into it, maybe actually a little bit of pineapple notes going on. But actually that sort of Christmas cake, Christmas pudding fruit, you know, sultanas, raisins, dates, maybe figs, that sort of stuff. And there's that word I used maybe last week, maybe a couple of weeks ago. And I don't really like using it, but it does suit it, creamy. It feels more creamier, more luxurious. It is a delicious rum. And actually, this is going to sound like slightly hypocritical, but actually a rum that I do enjoy sipping neat more than I do the original. Now, here's the caveat to this. This for me is not a session rum. This is a one rum, nice healthy glug, but one rum, one pour and enjoy it. It's not a session rum where I pour 2, 3, 4 of them of a night and then go back to it. But again, nor is that. That for me is not a session. There's just too much wood, too much unrefined for it for me. As I say, I think that was a storm in like rum and coke, rum and ginger. But I just think the character, the body, the different directions that this takes me on, this is why I use this in tiki cocktails. Because it's just, it's got the body to stand up in cocktails. I think that will get lost. You know, it's got the different flavor profiles. It just kind of works. Whenever I rock it out in any of Beach Bum or any of Martin Cate's Smuggler's Cove recipes, it just tends to work. So let's answer these questions that I normally do in these videos. You know, is it value for money? Have I got anything behind the bar already that I would compare to it? And would I restock it? Now, the whole point is that the original is getting pretty empty. So would I restock the original? Now, the simple fact is the original has probably been like that for a long, long while now. I'm not bashing it at all. I know it's got a lot of lovers, but it's just, you know, when you step up to that, it's just absolutely glorious. So have I got anything behind the bar already like this? Even though I've got that, and in the very next video, spoiler, I'm going to be putting the chairman's the forgotten casks against that, because again, that's something I haven't really revisited. But these are not identical. But even when I've done my tiki rum, my tiki kind of cocktails and stuff, nothing is giving me that vibe. I'm not saying that vibe is right in every single cocktail, but nothing I've tried gets me to that vibe. So have I got anything behind the bar already like it? Probably not for me at all. I enjoy that way more than I do Dawley's 12, Dawley's 14. I enjoy it way more than I do Eldorado 12 at the moment. It's just a lovely, neat rum. So would I restock that? Yes. Would I restock that? No. Have I got anything? We've answered that. The next question is it value for money? Now, if we are saying that that is £28, 35, 30, let's round up. So £28, $36, 33 euros. To take that up to £40, $50, 50 and a bit dollars, and 46 euros, the gulf in quality between that and enjoyment for me is huge. So to relate that to the prices, I do think for £40 in the UK, I think that is great value for money, because as much as I would love it to be cheaper, as much as I would love that to be a £30 rum, you know, I've tasted a lot of £30 rums, and that is damn sight better than any £30, £35 rums that I've got behind me. So for me, yes, it is worth that. I would love to hear your feedback. I'd love for those of you that have got both of them. You know, if you, it's hard, obviously you can't, if you've not got one or the other, you can't compare it, you know, so you're not going to say, oh yeah, that's my favorite if you've never tried them side by side. But I would love to hear from you guys that have got both and what your opinions are. I've used that in tiki cocktails. I stopped using it a long while ago because it just doesn't do that job. So that for me is an absolute cracker. Cheers.